Okay, let's unpack this. Today we are launching a deep dive into one of the most foundational and, I have to say, one of the most unnerving mechanisms in all of psychology.
For sure. Classical conditioning.
Exactly. And we're going to forget the dusty textbook version, Pavlov's dogs and all that.
Right.
Our mission today is to really understand how this simple mechanism of association, that's like an invisible program, shaping your emotional life, your political views.
Even the systemic pressure you feel to just conform, it's everywhere.
It really is.
And at its core, classical conditioning, or CC, is just associative learning. It's this discovery that if you pair a neutral stimulus, something that means nothing at first, like a tone.
A bell,
yeah. With a biologically significant stimulus like food, your brain it learns to link them.
And the power of that link is, it's immense. The neutral tone becomes a signal, and eventually it triggers the response all by itself.
That's the whole game. And it all starts with that foundational Pavlovian vocabulary.
Yeah.
It can sound a bit technical, but the idea is actually very simple.
Okay, let's break it down.
You start with an unconditioned stimulus, the US, that's the food. It naturally, without any learning, causes a reaction.
Which is the unconditioned response, or UR. So food makes you salivate. Simple.
Exactly. Natural, unlearned. Then you bring in the neutral stimulus, the NS, that's your bell. At first it does nothing, it's just noise.
But then you start the pairing. Bell, then food.
Yes.
Bell, then food. Over and over.
And that's where the magic happens. After enough pairings, that tone transforms into the conditioned stimulus, the CS.
The salivation it now triggers. That becomes the conditioned response, the CR.
And here's the crucial insight, the thing that, makes it all click. The UR and the CR, they're the same behavior.
Right, it's both salivation.
It's the same physical action. The only difference is what's triggering it. Is it nature of the food, or is it learning the bell?
So it's not about learning a new action at all. It's about learning a new trigger for an old action.
Precisely, which makes it incredibly efficient. And that efficiency depends a lot on timing, on how quickly you acquire the association.
How?
Well, learning is fastest when the conditioned stimulus reliably predicts the unconditioned bell. It's called forward conditioning.
The bell has to come first.
Yes, the bell has to ring and then the food arrives. Your brain is a pattern-finding machine. That pattern, CS then US, it provides valuable information. It says, hey, get ready.
That makes perfect sense from a survival standpoint.
Yeah.
And just to keep our terms straight, how is this different from, say, operant conditioning? The one with rewards and punishments.
That's a key distinction. Classical conditioning is all about involuntary responses. Reflexes, emotions, that gut feeling of fear or craving.
Things you can't really control.
Exactly. We're modifying what's automatic. Operant conditioning, on the other hand, that's about voluntary actions. You choose to press a lever to get a reward. CC is the gut reaction. Operant is the conscious choice to act based on consequences.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because once you have that basic link, you can start building on it. It gets more complex through something called higher order conditioning.
HOC is fascinating. It's where you really see how flexible this system is, because you don't even need the original stimulus anymore. The food can be totally out of the picture.
So let's walk through it. We have our first chain. The bell, CS1, now causes salivation.
Right, that's locked in. So now you bring in a new neutral stimulus, let's say a flashing blue light. We'll call that CS2.
Okay, so a light.
And you just pair the blue light with the bell, flash the light, ring the bell, flash the light, ring the bell. No food involved at all.
And eventually,
just flashing the blue light is enough to make the dog salivate. You've built a new association on top of the old one.
And that explains so much about advertising or even mentalism. They don't pair a car with, a steak dinner.
No.
They pair it with a feeling you already have.
Yeah.
They condition you to associate their brand, the CS2, with an existing feeling of excitement or freedom, which is the CS1.
That's exactly it. They're hijacking an emotional anchor that's already there. HOC lets you transfer that emotional weight, and it's fast and very, very effective.
This whole process, it seems to lead to two different outcomes in the real world: generalization and discrimination.
Right, and they're sort of two sides of the same coin.
So with generalization, is the brain just being lazy, or is it being overly cautious?
I'd say it's cautious, definitely a survival mechanism. Stimulus generalization just means you respond to things that are similar to the original CS.
So if a dog is conditioned to a specific tone,
it might also respond to a slightly higher or lower tone, a little less strongly, maybe, but the response is still there.
And the classic, kind of disturbing example is the little Albert experiment.
Oh, yeah.
He was conditioned to fear a white rat, And then he generalized that fear to what? Basically anything white and fuzzy.
A cotton ball, a rabbit, even a Santa Claus beard. His brain wasn't taking any chances. It prioritized caution over precision. Fuzzy and white equals bad.
Which is terrifying. But then you have the flip side. Discrimination.
And you need discrimination to function in the world. This is where your brain learns to tell the difference. If the 1000 hertz tone always means food, but the 1100 hertz tone never does, you quickly learn to ignore the second one.
You learn the precise cue. Which brings us to a huge question. Can you ever really unlearn this stuff? Is conditioning forever?
Well, you can achieve what's called extinction. But, and this is a huge but, the research is very clear that extinction does not erase the learning.
It just suppresses it.
Exactly. If you present the bell over and over without any food, the salivation will eventually stop. But the connection is still there, dormant.
And we know it's still lurking because of spontaneous recovery.
Yes. You can achieve full extinction, wait a day, ring the bell again, and the response just comes back. Often weaker, but it's there. The memory trace is waiting to be reactivated.
That has massive implications for therapy, right? For PTSD or phobias.
Huge. It means that just suppressing the fear isn't enough. You need to find a way to fundamentally rewrite that memory. And that's led to some cutting-edge techniques, like disruption of reconsolidation.
That sounds intense. What is that?
Okay, so when you recall an emotional memory, like the fear from a car crash, that memory becomes unstable for a short period. It's called reconsolidation. The brain is resaving the file. In that brief window, clinicians can interfere with the resaving process, sometimes with drugs, but also with behavioral methods like cognitive loading. You make the patient do a really distracting task, like play a complex video game, while recalling the trauma.
So you're interrupting the memory as it's being put back into storage.
You're trying to rewrite the emotional part of the memory itself. It's a profound tool.
Let's talk more about those clinical applications, because PTSD and phobias, they just seem like perfect textbook examples of this.
They absolutely are. A phobia of driving might come from one single bad accident where intense fear was the unconditioned response. Now, the sight of a highway, the smell of gasoline, those are the conditioned stimuli that trigger the same panic.
And for a combat veteran, a car backfiring can trigger a response that feels just like being back in that war zone.
It's the same neural pathway firing. But the good news is, if conditioning created the problem, it can also provide the solution. You mentioned systematic desensitization before. That's a form of counter-conditioning. You can't just tell someone, stop being afraid. So instead, you slowly, carefully expose them to the thing they fear while they practice deep relaxation.
So you're pairing the feared object with a new calm response.
You're overriding the fear association with a relaxation association. And then you have the opposite approach, aversion therapy.
This one sounds less pleasant.
It's the strong arm version, for sure. If you want to stop a habit like drinking, you pair the sight and smell of alcohol, the CS, with a really unpleasant US, like a drug that makes you violently ill.
Oof. So you condition an aversion. You link the habit with pain.
Which brings us back to the senses. Smell and taste are incredibly powerful for conditioning. Food aversions are famous for this.
Oh, I've had one of those. It only takes one time.
Exactly. A single pairing. You get sick hours after eating something new, and boom, your brain creates an instant, lifelong connection. Your survival system doesn't mess around with food poisoning.
And the brain can even trick itself with smell, right? The olfactory placebo effect.
It's astonishing. It shows how much of our reality is built on expectation. You put someone in a scent-free room, you tell them an irritating odor is being pumped in, and a huge number of them will start reporting headaches or itchy eyes.
So the verbal warning becomes the conditioned stimulus.
It triggers a real physiological response, a conditioned response. That's why fragrance studies have to be so careful. They have to prove their product has a real effect beyond what people just expect to feel.
Okay, so let's scale this up. We've talked about the individual. What happens when you apply these conditioning principles to an entire society?
That's when you enter the realm of media, propaganda, what some call discursive statecraft.
Where governments and other powerful groups use these exact same tools.
They are masters of it, linking their ideology with positive emotions, pride, security, love, and linking any opposing views with fear, disgust, and hatred. They are conditioning a public response.
We saw this historically with radio as this new, intimate medium that went straight into people's homes.
Absolutely. Think about Nazi propagandists in WWII. They didn't just lecture, they'd play sentimental songs that soldiers on the front had requested for their families back home.
Wow.
So they paired listening to the state-run broadcast, the CS, with these incredibly powerful personal emotions of love and shared struggle. It bound the listener to the regime on a gut level.
And on the other side, you had FDR's fireside chats, using that same intimacy to build trust and reassurance during the Great Depression.
Same mechanism, different goal. And today, it's just amplified. Russian state television, for example, uses techniques explicitly designed to excite extreme emotions of aggression and hatred towards its perceived enemies.
They're pairing political figures with intensely negative language and imagery.
Constantly. And you see China's CCP doing it on a global scale, using state media and social media bots to pair the image of their government with concepts like stability and responsibility, while conditioning people to dismiss any rival messaging as chaotic or dangerous.
It's sophisticated and it's pervasive. It's not just targeting what you think, but how you feel.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal of these large systems, whether it's a state or a corporation, and that goal is predictability.
This is where it's really heavy, where sociology meets psychology.
Yeah, there's this societal push towards what's called functional fitness. The idea, for instance, in some assimilationist models, is to erase the internal subjective experiences of your original culture, to view any deviation as being poorly adapted.
So the goal is to be programmed to think, feel, and behave in a predictable manner.
Yes.
Independence, originality. That's a bug, not a feature.
It's a malfunction. The ideal product of the system is a blank medium. Someone who is, quote, facile, plastic, moldable, an efficient, predictable worker for the information age. If you're easy to condition, you are functionally fit.
That is a chilling way to frame the pressure to conform. But it also shows why choosing the harder path is so important for resisting that kind of conditioning.
It is. It's about engaging your discrimination skills on a life or death philosophical level. Anyone can finish the assignments, right? Anyone can get the degree.
Be a finisher.
But the real value, the real growth comes from divergence, from consciously choosing to challenge the comfortable path society has conditioned you to see as correct.
I'm thinking of that student who said they took a really hard class, not because they had to, but because it is very difficult, and so not many learn this stuff. That's why it's so valuable.
So that is the perfect example. That student is choosing divergence over convergence, originality over just being functionally fit.
And that choice to embrace the friction, the difficulty, that's the ultimate act of self-determination, isn't it?
I think so. The system wants convergence. It wants predictable, interchangeable labor. But real human evolution, personal and intellectual, it depends entirely on divergence, on experimentation, on choosing the path that breaks your strongest, most comfortable conditioned responses.
So we've seen today how our most automatic emotional responses, our fears, our appetites, even our political loyalties, are all shaped by this incredibly simple mechanism of association. And we've seen how entire social systems work to turn us into that predictable, compliant, blank medium.
So, if the purpose of all that societal pressure is to achieve maximum convergence and functional fitness predictability, then true intellectual or personal evolution depends entirely on divergence. So the question I'll leave you with is this. How often do you consciously choose the difficult path, the one that requires you to actively challenge your strongest, most comfortable conditioned responses as the ultimate act of self-discovery and freedom?